Sports on Tap is brought to you by Go-To Pro Plumbing, Land & Sea Motorsports, On the Bay Customs Boutique and Cafe.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Playoffs? Don't talk about it. Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs?
I don't know what we're yelling about!
I mean, listen, we're talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
Loud noises!
Not a game.
This is the first time in my life I'm glad I'm deaf.
We talking about practice, man.
How many assholes we got on this ship anyhow?
65.
63. Knew it, I'm surrounded by assholes.
Kick the tires and light the fires, Big Daddy.
We are tonight's entertainment.
We're here to fuck shit up.
Sports the way it should be. Nothing sugar-coated, we're loaded with all the information you wanted. From legends to prospects, nothing's off limits. Chris and Joe be taking on all topics with no stopping. They keep it rolling and going and ball hopping at a rate that's hard stopping. With music and straws dropping, they getting it in. Sports Center competition, man, they in it to win. This ain't a fluke, from Carolina to Duke, from MSU to Michigan. You'll know if you listening and you ain't, you missing it. All the excitement, they shock like a thundercloud and rock with lightning. Get it together, you know ain't nobody better. Bring heat than cold weather. You better put on a sweater, you better just let it go and all come and attack. Sit back, relax, let's tell them it's on tap.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
Welcome to this week's edition of Sports on Tap. I'm Chris Scott, alongside Joe Waddell and Frank Giagata. Gentlemen, how are we?
We're doing
good, man.
Everybody surviving this shitty weather we're having.
Snowpocalypse.
Yeah, Snowmageddon.
Yeah.
Death Storm 2021. Which
Yeah, it was not fun this morning.
It was not.
It's not bad now, but
Right.
it was not fun this morning.
Yeah, this morning was not ideal. And honestly, this winter hasn't been that bad, so I'm not going to complain too much about it.
Honestly, the last few haven't been that bad.
Yeah.
We haven't had many major snowfalls, and in Michigan, that's rare. But I'd say the last 3 years hasn't been that bad.
Yeah, if we have like one like major one a year, I can I can live with that.
You know the only thing I'm pissed off about.
The only thing you're pissed off about?
Well, about the snow.
Okay, I say you might want to preface this with
you're right.
Thing weather
related. Weather related that you're pissed off about.
You're right.
You're too angry of a person to only be pissed off about weather.
That's why I'm like, wait a second here. Only thing? Okay.
I love how we're letting the listeners in on something here. A little personality from Joe.
Right.
Joe has a lot of things that irritate him.
It really grinds my gears.
I think that applies for all three of us.
Yes.
Now, if any one of us were to say, you know what, the one thing that pisses
the one thing? Yes, that is 1,000% accurate.
Well, we've already established that I have a lot of pet peeves, but things irritate me. But with the weather, the one thing that's irritated me recently is not even that big of a deal, but it's a big deal to me. It's that out of all the snowfalls we've had so far, and we've had quite a few this year, just nothing huge.
Yeah, nothing major.
But quite a few that we could play out in the snow with my daughter, right? Is none of the snowfalls have been good to make snowmen. They're all powdery, and you can't ball up snowballs. It's insane this year. I just want one snowfall where I can make a snowman with my daughter, who is now at the age where she would enjoy making a snowman.
Right.
The poor girl, she gets outside every time it snows, and we go outside, and she loves to play out in the snow. And she tries to pack it together, and it just won't pack. And she starts trying to pile it up on the sidewalk.
Right.
And she just thinks if she piles it high enough, it'll form into a snowman. And honey, we can't. I'm sorry.
It's good. It's good sledding weather though.
It is.
It's good sledding snow. I should say.
And I used to ski, and I miss skiing.
Yeah,
it's
I do too.
Great skiing snow.
Yeah,
for sure.
No, I'd agree with that 100%. The thing about the snow that we have, dude. If you have it in your car, wipe it off, clean it off, you fucking assholes. Like seriously, I cannot. It bothers the hell out of me when I'm driving behind somebody and this asshole just basically all they do is they clear the windshield off, like that's it, and then the rest of the car is covered in fucking snow. Dude, stop being a lazy fuck and clean off your fucking car. That's my beef.
That's your pet peeve?
That's my beef with it.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's the only thing that pisses you off.
That I can think of right now, yes.
Not even close.
Yes.
Not even close.
About the snow, that's the one thing I can think of, yes.
I was gonna. So here's another one. All right, we're just gonna lead off the show with what makes us angry about certain things, right?
Yes.
We'll do our pet peeves edition this week. So it bothers me all the time, but I did notice it when it snows too, and it bothers me even more then. And I don't know why, because people have an excuse to do it then. It's take your cart back to the fucking cart return.
Oh, there's a special place in hell for people like that.
Like what?
100%.
What is wrong with you? It's not that far. They have multiple cart returns.
Yeah.
It's not that far from your car. Don't be. Speaking of being a lazy fuck, don't be such a lazy fuck. Return your cart.
Yes.
It's one of the biggest pet peeves I have. And when it snows, people think it's just an excuse to just leave carts willy nilly fucking everywhere.
And they put it's like there's a spot like right in front of the building or something like that. Right. But of course, there's a cart right in that fucking spot.
Well, and they leave the carts actually like they're parking it in a spot.
Right, exactly.
Like they're saving a spot for like what are you doing? You're not even moving the cart off to the side at this point. You're just leaving it right at the back of your car. What is wrong with you?
Well, in talking about shitty things, I'm kind of glad we were talking about shitty things because it's going to lead me into this.
Frank, do you have any pet peeves, by the way?
No, I mean, honestly, when it comes to the weather, I kind of realized in my 33 short years that I've been in this state, if I have a problem with this kind of weather, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Or it'll change and,
or wait a month and it'll
right,
change.
exactly.
I was going to say, I think our pet peeves were not necessarily weather related, just things that had to do with when it happens.
Now, I will say with your shopping cart issue, that is how I judge a person in general. If I look and I see somebody is just, especially when you're parked like one or two spots away from the cart return.
That and a draw for an Uno is how I judge a person. You learn a true measure of a motherfucker by how they play a draw four.
Do you play it with some spunk on it?
Oh, you're fucking right, I do.
Do you lay that shit down with some attitude?
It's just like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
See, I've been playing.
Is that the people that do it condescendingly like that? Oh
Yeah.
my god, those are the people that are fucking worst.
Oh, I'm really sorry.
You motherfucker.
My Uno playing has been basically on the House Party app, and I've been playing with, I want to say,
Kid and Play? Were you playing with Kid and Play?
I don't even know.
Instead of the House Party app.
House Party.
That's what I was asking.
Good reference.
I'm glad you got that one.
Got that one.
I'm still over here lost as fuck at what you're talking about.
Frank doesn't even know who Kid and Play is.
No, he doesn't know who Kid and Play is. But this is a guy that just saw Die Hard for the first time like a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, whatever. So
Yeah, about 2 months ago.
I am surprised you don't know who Kid and Play are, though. That does shock me. You're not that young. I mean, you're younger than we are, but...
Yeah.
All right.
Most people are younger than you guys.
Most people are definitely younger than me.
Yeah, that's probably accurate.
But with the Uno...
Piece of shit.
With the Uno, what I was getting at is I've been playing with my smaller cousins, so I can't, I can't really get too into it.
Can't do it with gusto.
Yeah.
I get it.
Every once in a while, if one of the older cousins are playing and I throw one out, I'll give them a little wink or something. So it's, you know what I'm doing.
Can't do it with some spunk on it.
No.
Yeah,
nope.
I can't use the language I would really like to use when I throw one of those out.
Now, I know you had a point to get to, but really quickly.
Yeah.
Sorry. Talking about you're not really with things as far as movies go, or you just saw Die Hard and you didn't really know who Kid and Play was. I just now started watching a show just last week, well, 2 weeks now.
Okay.
That you've been bugging me to watch, and I wanted to tell you.
No,
I'm finally watching Sons of Anarchy.
Oh my God, it is a beautiful day now.
I'm finally watching Sons of Anarchy, and I love watching shows after they're over with, so you can binge watch them instead of waiting for the next episode every week. I hate that. So I've been able to watch some really good shows in that essence, in that way.
Right.
Game of Thrones, The Walking Dead, and Sons of Anarchy. It's a great show. It really is. I gotta give it to you there. I waited a long time to watch it, but it's pretty damn good.
The excuse I always heard was, I have no interest in being in a bike gang. Why would I want to watch that show? I tried to explain for so many years that as much as it has to do with a bike gang, because that's the entire premise of the show, you don't have to want to be a part of it to enjoy that show. Have you ever watched it, Chris?
Not even a minute of it.
Okay. Joe's finally bought into it. I will start on you now. I highly suggest it because based on some of the shows that you say you watch, I think you would actually enjoy it.
I'm sure I'll get to it in 5-10 years.
I would back him up on that one. See, I'm late to the party on a lot of these shows.
Yeah, so
I really am.
Yeah.
But with this, I will back him up on this one. I think you really would like it. It's a very interesting show. You're right. I didn't have the desire to see it because I was like, all right, I don't want to watch a bunch of bikers. I don't really care about that. I don't care about watching a bunch of bikers. Yeah, it is about a bunch of bikers, but it's not necessarily just about that. It's a pretty damn good show. A lot of action, a lot of violence.
So it's basically, from what I gather from the show, it's like a bike gang, correct?
Yeah.
Well, motorcycle club.
Whatever. Motorcycle. So basically, it's an
MC.
It's kind of like The Sopranos, but like with a motorcycle club gang type thing. Okay.
Yep.
Yes. Right. That's actually a pretty good way to put it. Okay. Yes.
How far have you gotten into it, Joe?
Season 3.
Okay. So you are just getting to Ireland now?
No, they're in Ireland right now.
Okay.
Yep, they're in Ireland.
You'll struggle through this a little bit more, but you'll be glad once you've gotten past it.
I like the Ireland part right now. I'm part Irish. I actually enjoy it.
And
it's
that
good.
part you'll enjoy. But
hey, me too.
Hey.
The storyline doesn't flow as well as it does once they come back. Once they come back, things really take off and shit gets wild.
Gotcha. All right, well, we've let off the show with nothing at all that has to do with sports.
No, sorry.
That's my bad.
Let me change that here. When we were talking about shitty things, which it was going to lead me into your favorite.
My favorite?
Yes, your favorite.
Which one?
Tom Izzo.
Oh.
Spotty basketball.
Michigan State basketball, which I've been told it doesn't matter this year. And
no, they're a football school.
No, they're a football school now.
Yeah, it's a football school.
Okay. That's what I've been told.
Michigan's a basketball school. Michigan State's a football school.
Right. It's bizarre world.
I
it's
know
crazy.
15 years ago that it was the opposite,
right.
But at some point that's changed.
But Tom Izzo, and just watching, I haven't really watched much Michigan State basketball this year. I watched a little bit of it to know what's going on with that program.
Do
right
yourself
now.
a favor. Continue to not watch it.
And I see it. I'm like, this is it time for him to step down? You as a Sparty fan, Frank, I'm asking you, is it time for him to step down?
It's so hard to judge at this point just because of the current climate of the sports world.
Yeah.
He looks like he's in that 1 year too long year right now.
Right.
But there's also the possibility, you know what, he does come March. And does he do it every year? No. There's a lot of years where he entered the first round and he fell flat on his face and he shit a brick and gotten the fuck out of there as quick as possible. But he also tends to take these teams that haven't accomplished much and puts them on a little run come March. So as much as I want to say, yeah, it's time for him to go,
yeah,
I have to wait and see what he does next month if they have the tournament to really fully say either way that he's done or he's still got something left.
So, I mean, the way it's going right now, they're going to have to make a run in the Big Ten tournament just to even make the big tournament.
I think they're a team that's probably going to get in above a lot of other teams that would have a similar record just based on who they are.
Yeah.
But
they got a lot of bad losses. Like blowout losses.
Yeah, but they beat Duke, so that's great.
But
even if Duke sucks.
They beat a sub 500 Duke team. Awesome.
There's some pretty strong college basketball teams that are not very strong this year.
Right, like Duke, Michigan State.
Wild.
Kentucky's terrible this year.
Yeah.
And in the one and done universe of college sports,
right,
this is kind of what you're going to get. You're going to get a couple of years where guys are good, and then you're going to get a couple of years where these teams fall off.
Yeah, but like with Duke, they seem to be able to carry it, just basically reload. They don't rebuild, they reload.
That also has to do with the fact that they have quite possibly the greatest basketball coach, period, of all time.
I don't know. And then I saw one of their better players. He's opted out for like the last third of the season, whatever. And I saw people bashing the kid, and you have your right to your opinion, obviously. But you know what? The kid's doing what's best for his future.
Yeah.
Especially these college guys, they're not getting paid. Like, so you know what? You want to bounce in a season that frankly
means
nothing. Then you know what? Do what's best for you, kid.
And that's kind of where they're at right now. The talk of the tournament possibly going on, possibly not going on. Like that kid, and I don't even know who he is, but I've seen the articles mentioning what he's doing. He's got nothing to prove. He's already slated to be most likely a lottery pick.
Right.
You've got a piss poor team you're playing with. The odds of you winning anything in college sports aren't there.
Right.
So yeah, just hang them up. Say, you know what, this was fun. I enjoyed myself for a little bit. I played the college ball I had to play. It's time for me to go make money now.
But he's quitting on his teammates. You know what? That's not how it works anymore in college sports.
You don't understand today's child if you're still referring to that as quitting on your teammates.
And that's I mean, he's done this at pretty much every other stop he's been, coming up until Duke. And that I do kind of have an issue with. So if I was an NBA GM, I would seriously question him on that.
Oh,
like,
for sure.
Why is it that you've quit everywhere you've gone, or quote unquote quit every place you've been? That would be a concern to me if I was a GM.
For sure. And if I'm the GM, I'm not taking guys who have done that.
No, neither. I probably wouldn't either.
There's 30 other franchises that don't have a problem with it, that say, you know what, this kid can put up points. Right. This kid can put up a double-double damn near every night. Sure, we'll give him a shot.
But I'm not going to bash the kid for making a decision that he feels best benefits his future. So,
well, speaking of a kid who made a decision that benefits his future, Michigan State just had a very high recruit back out on them.
Yeah, I saw that. He's like a 4-star, right?
Yeah, I thought he was a 5, but it could be
Which
a 4.
I'm sorry. You know how I feel about college recruiting. Like they're just the stars mean nothing. Honestly, they don't. Like we've seen with Captain Khaki Pants, get 4 or 5 stars, loaded classes, and they are where they are. So honestly, these stars don't mean shit unless you can coach them up.
Seeing walk-ons turn into Hall of Famers and seeing 5 stars never go pro.
Stars are just they're just stars on a piece of paper to me. Like honestly.
Well, and that's until you can coach them.
Exactly.
That really means nothing. You have to be able to coach them.
And that's another thing, not to spiral off onto this topic, but these kids got to be coachable too.
Yeah, because like the majority, you're a 5-star, so your entire life you've been told you're the best. You're the best.
When you're handed everything, being told you're wrong for the first couple of times is quite the pill to swallow.
Right.
So,
and some of them don't handle it very well.
No, they don't. No, they 100% don't
handle it even more poorly when a paycheck's not involved.
Right.
Once you're paying them, they care. When you're not paying them,
even then, sometimes they don't.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's the truth too.
Yeah, that's pretty
especially in that sport.
Yeah, it's and the one thing I said, the kid's leaving or giving up or quitting, however you want to say it, in a year that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to some, but it does to others. So to him, it doesn't matter because their team is not very good. They're not going to win anything. So to him, this year doesn't mean anything at this point.
And there's something after this year for
right,
him.
and it's a COVID year, and there's a lot of strange things going on. I get that, but I don't want people to think that I think this year doesn't matter to a lot of kids out there, because it does. These teams that are doing well right now, like a Michigan, who nobody really thought they were going to do this.
Which I wanted to hit on after
it does mean, excuse me, it does mean something to them, because if you said at the beginning of the season, this season doesn't mean anything, it's bullshit, then I'll respect you. But if you entered the season still saying this is gonna be the year, everything's gonna be fine, they're gonna pull it off, and then now that your team is losing, Sparty, you say, well, this year doesn't matter anyway, it's no big deal.
Right.
I don't have respect for you. The people that said at the beginning of the season, you said at the beginning of the season, I respect you for that, and you're staying with that. It benefits you now that your team sucks, but you're staying with what you said. You're changing it halfway through the year or after they've lost some really bad losses. I have no respect for you at that point.
No, I agree. Now, on the flip side of that, I want to get to Michigan and the job Juwan Howard's doing there. Now, when he was hired, honestly, it was lambasted by a lot of people. Valenti.
I didn't like it.
I loved the hire. I loved it when they hired him.
He had no experience at anything.
I mean,
that's why I didn't like it.
But being an assistant in the NBA, which he was with Miami,
but it didn't mean much because even when the head coach was out, even when Spoelstra was out,
right,
he wasn't the one that was coaching the team.
I understand that, but you're still learning how to be a coach, how to be a head coach. Mm-hmm. And then when they hired him to go to Michigan, I'm like, you know what? That is the perfect hire because he's still I guess young enough to get it, especially get this modern athlete.
Well, and you look at what team he was a part of.
Yeah, and he was part of the
he was not to I don't even know how to word this appropriately, but he was the team that introduced the generation that we're dealing with now.
Kinda, yeah.
That
Yeah.
whole Fab Five
Right.
thing is what birthed this type of basketball.
Right. So he and like I said, he gets it, and especially at Michigan. I cannot believe I'm using this fucking term, but Michigan man, this time it actually does legitimately apply, because he wants to take what Beeline did and take it to an entirely different level, which I think you're starting to see, like the ascension of Michigan basketball into an elite program.
Yeah, I can tell you that I was wrong. I'm happy about it, but I was wrong. I didn't think he had the experience that was needed for that job. I thought they were going from one experienced coach that knew how to recruit and that was very good at his job to a guy that was a Michigan man that was inexperienced and they were just bringing in for face value. And I was wrong, because he's come in, he's actually proven he can recruit, which he didn't have any experience at. He's proven he can fundraise, which he didn't have any experience at. He's proven he can coach, which he didn't have much experience at, other than being an assistant on a team that didn't even let him be the head coach when the head coach was out.
Right.
So there was a lot going against him, which is what I saw. What I didn't see was this. And he has gotten this team to play out of their minds.
And that's arguably the best team in the country.
Yeah, they're top 3.
So, and I did think, after Beeline left, I was like, there's probably going to be a significant drop off, even though I like the hire. And yeah,
Well,
last year,
how drastically Beeline was able to change that program as fast
Right.
as he did. Like, you're only sane for thinking that.
right? I mean, what Beeline did is phenomenal what he did, but I think he finally got to the point where he kind of plateaued. So even when he left, as much as it sucked that he left, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it sucks, but I think it's the right time for him to go. I don't think Michigan was going to go any higher than what he had taken them to, and I thought it was time for somebody to come in and have them take that next step to where they're perennially national championship contenders.
Well, I would relate this to the Lions. So Caldwell, he had reached that plateau where he was going to take the team, right?
Yeah.
He made the playoffs several years, but he had reached that plateau, right? And if the Lions had gotten it right, they would have hired a coach to come in and take them to that next level. Whereas with Michigan, Beeline had taken them to that level, but that was he had plateaued, like you said.
Yep.
And they hired a guy to come in and actually took them to the next level, to where they look like they're hitting that next level of competition.
Yep.
To where they're gonna be a perennial contender to win it all.
And I
And
think
they did a great job with that hire.
I think it's also a different situation, especially in Juwan's situation compared to somebody like Matt Patricia, using that example. Juwan's been there. And I don't mean he's been there as a coach. He's been there as a player. He can look you in the eye and go, I do understand what you're going through.
Did he have, a 15-year career?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, you're being coached up by somebody who knows how to get there, knows what it takes to get there,
He knows what it takes to stay there.
and isn't telling you to do anything that he couldn't do or didn't do himself. Somebody like Matty P, yeah, the guy might have been as smart as they come, a literal rocket scientist,
But couldn't deal with people.
had no personal relationship
Right.
skills. He had no ability to look at any of these guys and go, run a 4.40. I can do it. Why can't you? You didn't see him running. You didn't see him doing anything physical.
And honestly, that's what being.
I would have paid to see him.
I would
run.
have paid. to see
Right.
that.
But that's what I'm like. How do you look at a guy like that and go, yeah, you know what you're talking about. Yeah, I'm going to do exactly what you're telling me because you were on the sidelines when you got to a championship.
Right.
Taking nothing from his defensive coordinator days, but they didn't put you in any position to know anything any better than you
Right.
knew before.
I mean, but that's a lot of what coaching is, just being a psychologist to managing personalities and things. And Juwan seems to be able to do that. Like there was this game earlier in the season where him and I think it was Livers got into it a little bit. And all right, I get it. I can understand that. I think we've all been in that situation where you're pissed off at your coach is pissed off at you. You get into it for a second, but like after the game, 10 minutes later, whatever, and everything was fine. Like they talked it out. All right, cool. Now they got each other. It's like, okay, you had your say, I had mine say. It's all good.
You felt strongly, I felt strongly. We had it out.
That shit happens.
Yeah.
But like a lot of coaches would just be pissed off at that player and bench his ass. which to me is stupid. You got to understand what the player is saying, you know. And I think Juwan has a great ability to do that.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Well, being a coach isn't being a dictator. You have to be able to relate to the players.
Right.
You have to be able to relate to them as a person. So like you have to. There's a give and take in there. You know what I mean? Like you can't just say you're not allowed to talk back to me because I'm the coach and you're the player. That's not the way it works. To a certain extent, there's a respect that needs to be there.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to have it out every once in a while, and then be able to get past it.
Like you look at a guy like Saban. Now, from everything I've read and heard, he's a taskmaster, 100%. But the players respect him because he will actually hear them out. Like if they have a beef, he'll hear you out. I mean, but he's got to the point. I mean, obviously he's arguably the best football coach in history, let alone college.
Mm-hmm.
So he has that title and that respect to where he can say, like you said, run a 4.40.
Yeah,
do it. You know, but he also has that where if you have a disagreement, he'll hear you out 100% and not just dismiss it or bench you.
And that's how you deal with. And I say this because we're talking boys sports right now, men's sports. That's how you deal with a man. You got to understand, especially in college, these are 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. These are kids who are just becoming an adult. All they want is to be heard.
Yeah.
So if you can get through that battle, that's literally more than half the battle right now with college sports.
All right, G.I. Joe. I feel like we just hear a G.I. Joe drop in the background.
G.I. Joe.
Oh, shit. Oh, G.I. Joe. Oh. There's another story I want to hit on. We talked a little bit about this before the show.
Yep.
The Trophy Karen, what the Trophy
yeah,
Karen?
I'm calling her Trophy Karen. So so the trophy was thrown basically.
Yeah, the Lombardi Trophy.
The Lombardi Trophy, and
Yes.
I got a video of it here. I'll play it for everybody at home.
Speaking of that, how wasted was Tom Brady? that
That's
hammered.
Jesus.
That's the difference between winning a championship under Bill Belichick
Right.
and winning a championship under Bruce Arians in Tampa.
Right.
Like the complete polar opposite.
I was going to say, the sun does fuck with the alcohol intake.
Well, yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, I probably only had an almond that day to eat. Just I was like, okay. I'm surprised Giselle let him drink. To be honest with you, that's crazy.
He had an almond and an avocado.
Right.
And that doesn't soak up alcohol.
Yeah, he was wasted.
He was.
But it was finally cool to see that side of him. You know.
Well, see, and what bothers, before we get into this part of it, and this kind of goes with this, what bothers me is, for some reason, everybody wants to find so many reasons to hate on Tom Brady. Is it because he wins all the time? I don't understand why people hate on the guy. The guy really hasn't done anything wrong. Like, if you look at his personal life, he hasn't really done much other than, he cheated on his first wife. Like, he hasn't.
There was the cheating on the first wife, and then like the multiple times his team was caught cheating in the NFL.
His team, but again, he's been to 10 Super Bowls, won 7, and he hasn't had any major scandals outside of sports. He from everything I see, he's a decent person and a decent dude. But people just hate on this guy for fucking everything. I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I don't understand that at all.
Okay.
This is another one of those things that pisses him off.
I guess.
I don't understand the hatred for the guy.
Right.
Because if he was a piece of shit, I would get it.
Right.
You know me. There's plenty of people I don't like.
People hate greatness. They just do.
This is just one of those things that bothers me because I just don't get it. I really just don't understand it. They'll find any reason to hate on the guy. Oh, yeah, he's been in 10 Super Bowls and won 7, but he cheated every one of them.
No, cheated on the first 3.
Oh, well, he got lucky because he's had good wide receivers and good defenses. You don't luck into 10 Super Bowl appearances and win 7 of them.
Maybe it's because the first one shouldn't even have fucking happened.
Now that one I'll give you. But so here, I'll show the video for everybody at home. The Brady throwing the trophy.
This trophy, we'll see here. Oh man. Oh, wow.
I'm actually shocked the base of that thing didn't impale somebody.
Right?
They got it.
Well, you look at the way it lands. The base lands up.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Thankfully.
Like flip and
Right
impale
there.
somebody.
I was also listening to people talk about this. That river is 80 feet deep.
Oh shit!
If that is not caught,
bye-bye.
Done. Gone.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Yep.
All right.
Ain't nobody getting that thing.
That's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it's an NFL trophy. They would have fished that fucking thing out.
No, they wouldn't have. They just made another one. Because literally every year it's a brand new one.
In all
Well,
honesty,
Yeah, it's made
I
by
know
Tiffany's.
that, but
I'm almost positive there was people off to the side in scuba suits waiting for something to fall into that fucking
It wouldn't
river,
surprise
lake,
me.
whatever it is.
Wouldn't surprise me.
I know if I had the equipment and knew how to do it, I'd fucking wait for it.
Right.
Especially for the Lombardi trophy.
Right.
so
speaking of that.
so with that being said, right?
Yeah.
We have this, and I call her Trophy Karen,
Yes.
who is the daughter of a gentleman who I guess
He designed it, right?
he designed and created the first one.
Yeah.
I don't know. So here's some of her cuts of what she had to say about this, and all I'm gonna say is, this lady's ridiculous, and anybody with that haircut, I can't take you seriously.
I have a big history of this trophy being made by my father, and it's such an honor. And I know all the craftsmen that made it when my dad was there also at Tiffany's, and it takes a lot of work, a lot of hard work, a lot of hours go into it. It just really upset me that this trophy was disgraced and disrespected by being thrown as if it was a real football. I didn't sleep for the past 2 nights because
Bullshit.
of this. I was that upset because I know the passion that goes into this trophy.
Stop it.
And how my dad and all his fellow silversmiths are so proud to make this. The ball is hand formed as the base is as well. This has nothing to do with your
I'm
athletic
sure the
ability
original
whatsoever.
was
It has
hand-formed.
everything to do with
This is just a
disrespecting
reproduction.
a highly coveted trophy that a lot of work goes into by the silversmiths and all the other team players. I personally would like an apology.
You should not. You don't deserve
Not
one.
just to me
Stop
and
it.
my family and the other silversmiths, but to the fans.
The fans don't have an issue with this. You're the
All
only one that has a
football
fucking
fans.
issue
The
with
other
I
this.
was gonna say you're the only one complaining about this.
So when she said he needs to apologize to the other teams and the other players as well. For what?
Yeah.
And I think we're all vaguely familiar with the history of the Stanley Cup and how awful that
what's-
thing's been treated.
what's the
after
Stanley
it's been
Cup?
won.
Never heard of it.
The things that thing has been through.
Right.
Yes. 100%.
And never have I ever heard anyone apologize.
No.
Just going off of rumor, but never once did I hear Chelios apologize for beating the hell out of this fucking thing after they won 0-2.
Oh, yeah. That
When-
thing-
when
oh,
he
yeah.
dropped it at the bar, when he dropped it at the pool, when he dropped it at
Yeah,
literally
that
everywhere
thing's
he
been
fucking
dinged.
went.
That thing's been
Yeah.
to strip clubs. It's been in a canal. It's been. There's so many stories that go with the Stanley Cup, and not one person has been like, They should apologize for. Stop it.
And that trophy has to be handed off.
Yes.
There is, there's
two.
multiple,
There's
but there's one.
Like there's the original,
trophy.
and then
Yeah.
there's the travel cup. Yes.
Yes, there's one that you get to win. The Lombardi trophy, they just reproduce
Just make
it
another
every
one.
year.
Yes.
So there's another incident with the trophy that as soon I thought of it as soon as this was brought up with this chick, this trophy.
The Lombardi
camp.
trophy or the Stanley Cup?
Lombardi.
Okay.
And here I'm gonna play this video real quick. This
Is this Detroit Lions music?
No, yeah.
Here to celebrate our Super Bowl victory.
Some of the guys were going to throw out the first pitch. Jules was warming up. Gronkowski got him a pitch in.
And it was all fun and games until it wasn't.
Gronk thought of a great idea. He'd play around
that's
and get a
bad
swing
news.
in. As he's lined up, Jules is the pitcher. Gronk standing there, and I think we're all under the impression, I mean, no way is he going to swing a Lombardi trophy.
We're thinking he's not going to swing the bat. He's not going to do it. And literally at the last second, when 11 throws the ball, we see 87 go from a batting position to a bunt.
Probably not ideal.
Dented the trophy with a baseball.
But she didn't have an issue with this.
Right.
Gronkowski's parting gift.
Okay.
Sometimes things happen.
This seems
Anybody
significantly worse than
could do
like
it
throwing it
and
to
get
another
away
boat.
with it.
He dented the trophy with a baseball.
Gronkowski himself.
And
that explains 100% why you got traded to the Lions.
He is Brown, who left an everlasting mark so that people will never forget that he was a part of that championship team.
All right. Like I said, it's
So, and that trophy was never replaced. It's still
It's still
there with the baseball dent in it.
That's awesome. But like I said, she didn't seem to have an issue with that.
That's what I'm saying. That was the first thing I thought of is, wait a second. Gronkowski used it as a baseball bat. And we don't have a problem with that. We have a problem with Tom Brady throwing it from one boat to another boat. That's the issue we have. No, you just want your 15 minutes of fame. You want to have a problem with the most celebrated athlete that there is right now. You want your 15 minutes. Listen, Trophy Karen, shut the fuck up. Nobody cares that your father built a trophy. Nobody ever thinks about you or your family when it comes to that trophy. And you just want them to. Get out of the spotlight, go back into the background with that weird-ass fucking haircut you got, and go see a beautician, because take care of that shit. It looks weird as hell.
You know, it's not weird as hell.
I'm not answering these questions anymore. I'm not answering these questions anymore.
That right now is a great time to purchase a home or even refinance your existing home. Call my guy Jason Stiltner at Flagstar Bank. He'll give you the top-notch service that you're looking for. Flagstar, they're currently offering a 0% down home purchase program. However, the program won't last long, but the rates are incredibly low. Like I said, that's not weird. That's that weird-ass haircut you were talking about.
Yeah.
Yes. So call my guy Jason Stiltner today at 248-675-0675. Trust me, you don't want to miss this great opportunity. That number again is 248-675-0675. Flagstar Bank is an equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS number 27546.
Good job. I am no longer answering your question. Your hypothetical questions are not getting answered by me anymore after last week.
That's probably a good idea.
Even though it was funny as hell.
It was great.
I've learned not answering.
Frank wants to say something.
Not answering.
No. For once, Frank has nothing to say.
That's odd.
Right?
That's why I said for once.
Oh,
That's odd.
That's funny.
So one thing that we had talked about, and you brought up, Chris, was it was kind of a twofold question in our group text, and we said we'd bring it up on the show.
Yep.
And it was, one, would the 2004 Pistons be able to compete in today's NBA?
Mm-hmm.
And the second question is, how, I think basically wasn't really a question, but how long before this current Pistons team will compete and contend?
Well, the first part of that, I'll say, I think they'd be able to compete, but I don't think there's any way in hell they'd win a championship. Just with how the game is played now, and how that team was constructed, you can't play defense now. You can't, and that team was built on playing defense.
I was going to say, if you watch what that team did to Shaq when Shaq would go for a rebound in the 04 finals, you would be getting teed up. Left
100%
in this game if you were doing what you did to him then.
Yeah, now not a chance. I said they'd be competitive, and they'd make the playoffs, but not a chance in hell to win.
You look at what the NBA is right now. Games are hitting consistently.
Oh yeah,
220, 230, 240 overs for total points.
Oh yeah,
that's nuts. That team played great defense, but they can't play that good a defense. And they weren't that great offensively. So to be able to compete with the teams now scoring this many points and run, basically it's a run and gun offense all the time. You know, the shot clocks hardly ever reach the last 5 seconds.
Right.
They're teams running plays and shooting the ball.
Yep.
And they're fast breaking and they're running the court. That team, I agree with you. I don't think they would be able to win a championship. They hit it at the right time.
Oh yeah, right before the NBA changed the rules.
Like the most perfect timing to be able to win a championship and almost win two.
Which they should have, Rasheed.
Which they should have.
Jackass.
But it was almost perfect.
They could have won a lot more than 2 in that time span.
They should have.
But yeah, I mean,
Darko.
But they hit it. They hit it perfectly. Yeah. Well, there's another one of those draft picks we're going to talk about pretty soon with this current Pistons team that I mentioned.
You did
after draft night. And I have a big problem with it still, even though they've hit on some other ones. But yeah, they could have and should have won more, but when it comes down to it, it was perfect timing. For that team, the way that team played, it was perfect timing to be able to win a championship then, because you're right. That would not be able to happen right now.
No, it's a completely different game. Now, it depends on how you like your basketball. Do you like your basketball when you're allowed to play defense and you actually have to work to score points, or do you like it now where you can just basically sit at the 3-point line and shoot, chuck up threes all day and drive the lane at will?
See, I prefer old basketball.
I do as well. Like the way the game is now, to me, it's not even street ball. It's just.
It's why I only enjoy watching the playoffs after the first round, because then it becomes actual basketball.
Well, they actually try.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I could see that.
There's not much defense.
No, like
right now at all.
I saw a play. I think it was maybe last night, and it was it was Charlotte versus I forgot who they were playing, but I saw, and I don't even remember what player it was, but I just saw him like just drive down the lane, and there was like two guys from the other team in the lane, and they just kind of like,
ole.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck, man?
I mean, no disrespect to the kid, but you have LaMelo right now, who is the equivalent of what looks like a 16-year-old kid. I mean, I have no idea how old he is, but I'm picturing in my head guys like Ben and Rashid being there when...
Oh, they would have knocked him on his ass.
Right. Like, you just can't do to these kids what you used to do to the grown men who were playing this sport.
100%.
The other thing I look at with this team is Sheed, his shooting was questionable. He was hot at times.
Oh, yeah.
Other times he was ice cold.
Oh, 100%.
Ben couldn't shoot to save his life
No,
most
he
of the
couldn't.
time. Rip, Chauncey, even Tayshaun. Tayshaun had a decent 3-ball. He could definitely hit from the corners. But 1 through 5, you've got to be able to hit shots to work in today's basketball. And they just didn't have that then.
No, they didn't, and that's why I think they would have probably made the playoffs, but there's not a chance in hell they would have competed for a championship.
They're a team that if you could have found a way, go back in time, you take Carmelo instead of taking Darko.
Or even Wade.
Or even D. Wade. You put yourself with a shooter of that caliber on that team that gets you through the first couple rounds
Like
of
a
this
scorer,
year.
like a pure scorer, yes.
You're able to get through those first couple rounds. And I'm saying that team then, factoring in now, you have a way to get through those first couple of rounds where people are just scoring points left and right.
Right.
You get to the conference finals, you get to the championship, then you can play that defensive style.
Right.
They just would have the issue getting past those first 2 rounds, really.
Now, the second part of that question is, do I think that the Pistons will be competitive in the next 5 years? I 100% believe they will be competitive in the next 5 years. I love what they're doing right now. Weaver is completely done what was incredibly necessary, hell, even years previous to this, and it's a shame it took so long to do it. But he's basically cleared house of that roster. And
well, the last piece is about set to get traded.
The last piece is about set to go in Blake Griffin, which we'll talk about that here shortly as well. But I love what they're doing, and if he continues to hit on most of his draft picks, obviously you're not going to hit on everyone. It's just it's
Hayes is looking like it was probably a bust.
It might be a bust. To me, it's still a little bit too early to tell. I'm not going to lose faith in it yet, but it's kind of trending in that direction. But you got like guys like Sadiq Bey, who's just tearing it up right now. It's awesome to see.
So that was kind of what I was going to hit on with that is Sadiq Bey and God, is it the other name of the other guy they got right around him in that draft? Both those guys are playing great, and Sadiq Bey is playing out of his mind. I mean, he's playing way better than anybody would have expected. I do have a problem with the Hayes pick, and I said it after draft night, and I'm going to say it again. Tyrese Halliburton was your guy. That one bothers me because this team could be in a better spot right now if they'd have drafted Halliburton. I mean, if you look at Halliburton's stats right now, and Killian Hayes only had 7 games because he got hurt. But if you look at Halliburton's stats, he's got 12 points a game, averaging 12 points a game, almost 4 rebounds a game, 5 assists a game. His field goal percentage is .498, 3-point percentage is .443, and he's averaging over a steal a game. And then if you look at Killian Hayes, those numbers are, even though it's only 7 games, those numbers are drastically down. And you look at field goal percentage and 3-point percentage. Field goal percentage for Killian Hayes was .277, and that
was supposed to be the highlight of the game.
and .25 for 3-point percentage, 25%. So I mean, and he under .3 in steals per game, averaging about 4.5 points a game and 3.5 assists a game. Those numbers tell the whole tale. And I know it's only been 7 games for Killian Hayes, and Halliburton's had significantly more than that.
Right.
But when it comes down to it on draft night, that looking at the fact they could have had Halliburton and they took Hayes, who was a project from overseas, that one just baffled me. And I think it bothers me even more now that they got some of these other picks right. and screwed that one up in my mind. And I know I need to give the kid time, and I'm going to. I'm not writing him off.
Yeah,
Believe me, I'm not writing him off.
We don't have a choice at this point.
Right, yeah.
Yes, I mean, believe me, I'm not writing him off. I'm not one of those people that's just going to say, oh, there's no way. But it's clearly trending in the direction that Halliburton should have been the pick. And to look at these other guys panning out and think what it could be with Halliburton had they drafted him in that spot, it bothers me because they could be so much better and be so much better off for the long haul.
Yeah, and they didn't have the talent to take a project on right now. And that's really where I do agree with you. I agree 100%. Hayes, 7 games, that's not even a small sample size to judge a guy off of. But when everybody's calling a bust before he even plays a game, it's really easy at this point to start calling him a bust.
Yeah, it is, but that's a society we live in now.
Yeah.
It's if a guy doesn't play well for like 3 games, especially a young guy, oh, he sucks, he's terrible.
It's a knee-jerk reaction and cancel culture.
It's cancel culture. It's drastic overreaction. We talked about it in the NFL. I mean, look at it. You have plenty of people writing off Tua already.
I was never a big fan of Tua to begin with, so
I know that, but even you're not writing him off. I mean,
no, I'm not. But I'm not exactly seeing him trend in the right direction. I will say that I'm not completely writing him off, but I don't see it. I haven't since he came into the league. So
and you didn't like him coming into the league.
I did not. No.
But when it comes down to it, it's the same thing with Hayes that I'll say, and I'm not writing him off either. I'm just saying it's trending in the right direction. He's played 7 games. He's been injured, right? Well, with Tua, drastic overreaction is he came in a season where they didn't have any off season, came in after having major hip surgery, and he played 9 games. So for anybody to write him off is insane to me, and for anybody to write off Killian Hayes is insane. You can say it's trending in a certain direction though, and that's the direction I'm saying. But I also said it on draft night. I said on draft night I didn't like the pick. I'm going to say it again now. You can't write the kid off yet. He's obviously got to have more time to possibly prove himself. But you're right. Drastic overreaction is what happens in today's world. It's you produce now or you go bye-bye. And
you do, and that's a sad thing.
Well, and that's why coaches have such a short-term life now. Coaches used to get 5 years to see out a plan, and now they get 2. You know, and yes, in certain cases you can see the writing on the wall and you get rid of them after 2, but now you're getting rid of coaches after 1 and 2 years consistently, whereas before that was the outlier. It wasn't the norm to get rid of a coach after 1 or 2 years. Now it's the norm.
It is, and like we've talked about with certain quarterbacks and just certain players in general, especially in the NFL, like the coaching carousel, how it just you change offensive systems like every 1 or 2 years, and that's not beneficial to any young player.
No,
by the way, I don't care what sport it is.
No, it's not. It's not, especially the quarterback, who everybody judges harshly anyway. So no matter what that happens, the quarterback is judged more drastically than anybody. And if you're consistently changing coaches, that's completely it goes against actually developing a player. They have no system to actually absorb. Right. They just keep having to absorb a different system every other year.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's the society that we live in.
That sounded like one of the cars this morning that people were trying to start in the snow. Or it sounded like me shoveling my walkway this morning.
Yeah, it was not ideal, no doubt.
No. So I don't know if you have anything else you want to bring up. There was one other thing I know we wanted to get to that
hit it.
We'll bring up is Terrell Owens.
T.O.
had some choice things to say about the Calvin Johnson being elected into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot.
And correct things, because what he said is basically what you especially said last week. I
think all of us kind of agreed on it.
Yes.
That, Calvin getting in on the first ballot doesn't make any sense.
It's ridiculous.
And I'm going to put up his headline right now. The headline for it right now is Terrell Owens still puzzled by Hall of Fame process after Calvin Johnson's first ballot election. Owens doesn't understand the process of voting wide receivers into the Hall of Fame, which we clearly talked about last week. Anybody that listened to the show last week knows we discussed it. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
His numbers Yes. Are they Hall of Fame worthy? Eventually, yes.
Yeah.
But when you have receivers of the caliber of Reggie Wayne and Torrey Holt sitting there, who have already had an opportunity at the Hall of Fame and not gotten in on first ballot, and they're sitting there ahead of Calvin, how does Calvin get in before them? That was the thing. And I'll read you Terrell Owens' comments right now. This is a quote. "No disrespect to anybody that got in, but I just don't understand the process. Calvin Johnson got in on the first ballot. This has nothing to do with Calvin Johnson himself. The guy was a beast, but there's no justification when you have Torrey Holt and Reggie Wayne on this year's ballot that have done equal or greater things." I agree with it 100%.
100% agree with this.
The only argument I have in that entire statement is the fact that he said have done equal. No, both of them accomplished more than Calvin had. Equal is not even a fair thing to say.
But as we said, Lake, you know who has accomplished equal? Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
There you go.
And would Antonio Brown get in on the first ballot?
Not a chance in hell.
I wouldn't be surprised if Antonio doesn't get in, period.
That wouldn't surprise me.
I agree with you.
That wouldn't surprise me in the least.
And I'm not saying Calvin isn't a beast like he says.
He is.
He is. He was. He was a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, you can't just vote in based on athletic ability.
Right.
A lot of people have said over this last little while is, well, Calvin's more athletic and had more talent than any one of those other guys.
Great.
Well, I'm never going to say he didn't. But you have to look at the body of work that they do in the NFL. Jerry Rice wasn't the most athletic or most gifted athlete in the world when it came to, but when you look at his body of work that he put together, he's the best receiver to ever play the game.
Now, also, that argument should work in said person's favor. If they're not the most talented or whatever, and they put up the numbers that they did, then those numbers should matter fucking more.
Right.
Then Calvin Johnson, yeah, he's the most talented receiver you've ever seen. Then why did he put up better numbers? Why does he still have the same numbers as Antonio Brown? Why do Reggie Wayne and Torrey Holt have better numbers than him? If they're subpar to his athleticism and his talent. And don't say, oh, it's because he had Matt Stafford as his quarterback.
No, the excuses are that his first, 3 or 4 years, he had guys like John Kitna, and I just name off the quarterbacks that the Lions had, which were all bad.
Kitna, Stanton.
Yeah, Garcia at one point, I think. Culpepper. They name off those quarterbacks and go, oh, it's because he had those guys thrown to him. And then they also bring up pictures of Calvin Johnson before pre-snap of two guys standing right on him, guarding him, and say, you name another receiver that got double and triple covered that had the numbers that... Okay, that argument doesn't exist.
You know who else got double covered and had Dante Culpepper throwing to them for more than half their fucking career?
Randy Moss.
There you go.
Randy Moss.
Who is arguably the best receiver ever.
Randy Moss.
When it comes to pure talent, he probably is.
Randy Moss. It's almost all number one wide receivers.
They get doubled.
Yep. I won't say tripled, but they get doubled. So you can't just bring up a picture of Calvin Johnson pre-snap standing there with two cornerbacks guarding him at the same time and going, well, name another wide receiver that faced this.
I see T.O. did.
I can name...
Randy Moss did.
Chad Johnson did.
Literally every
DeAndre
good
Hopkins
receiver in that generation.
Yeah. Andre Johnson. I mean, you want to keep going?
Right. We could just name off all the number one wide
Marvin
receivers.
Harrison, Reggie Wayne.
I mean, you want to talk about
Torrey
guys
Holt,
who aren't in the Hall of Fame? And
Isaac Bruce.
I know the timing's a little bit poor because we just found out yesterday it passed. Fucking, what's his name from Tampa? Vincent
Jackson. Vincent Jackson.
Yeah. Like, that guy was double covered every fucking play.
Yes.
Like, it doesn't mean anything to be double covered. If you're a number one receiver, you're getting double covered. That's the way it works. Now, with Reggie Wayne on here, I bring up the question, and it creates an entire hypothetical conversation, but he was the number two at certain points. He had Marvin Harrison on the other side of him. So then you get into who's being covered by the one, who's being covered by the two, arguments like that. That is literally the only argument I can see possibly made in that situation why Reggie Wayne, at least, is not in there. And I don't even agree that it's why he's not in the Hall of Fame. It's just why he's not there now.
Okay. I can take that to a degree. Yeah, 100%.
But that's what, like, even as a stretch, that's the only thing I can come up with to even try to argue it.
And my argument would be, okay, so as a number two, he's still to put up number one numbers then. Because his numbers are comparable to number one. So at certain times he might have been number two, but for a good length of his career, he was a number one.
Well, and Harrison also retired, I want to say, like 5 years into Reggie Wayne's
Yeah.
career, so he was the
He
number
was
one.
number one.
I'm literally just digging for something to
Right.
make some
Right.
sort of argument on how this could possibly make sense.
Right.
I don't know. It's just,
No, well, it didn't make sense to me why Terrell Owens had to wait. So
we all know why. Terrell
Well,
Owens
I
had to
mean,
wait.
yes, and that's we've discussed that before too. When it comes to Hall of Fame voting in every sport, they need to come into the real world.
Baseball, 100%. That's why it took so long for Jack Morris again, because he was an
Mhm.
asshole to the media, and that's
Yep.
exactly why it took him so long. to
and
get
that's
in.
why-
And it's what's happening to Bonds. It's
Right.
what's going to happen to fucking A-Rod. It's what's going to happen to everybody.
Well, and Bonds in particular. So it's not just the steroids with him, but he was an asshole to the media too.
Mhm.
He
Oh, yeah.
hated the media. So he's not going to get in for two reasons. One, because for some reason the writers like to look at the steroid era and just write every player off.
Even though he never tested positive.
Right. And certain other players that did test positive, everyone regards as like the greatest thing on the planet.
Poppy.
Yeah.
You said it. I wasn't going to say it.
Biggest fan in the world of the guy, but I'm just calling it like it is.
He tested positive. Everybody regards him as the next best thing to slice bread.
Yep.
And he's such a great dude, which he seems like a great dude. He is.
Fuck
but
yeah.
but when it comes down to it, Bonds is crucified because he was an asshole.
Yep.
Not necessarily because he took steroids, because he was an asshole that
Exactly
took
right.
steroids.
100% exactly why.
So they just need to come into this century and just get rid of all the old white hairs. We don't talk government and politics, but it needs to be like the government. Get rid of all the white hairs, okay? Get some people in there that can relate to us and get them in there.
I can't.
It's the problem with business and sports in general at this point in the world.
I can't necessarily disagree with any of this.
Yeah. It's very frustrating, and I agree with T.O. The guy's a prima donna, but I loved him as a player, and on this,
Yeah, because the
I
guy
agree
actually
with him.
did it. The guy actually fucking went out and proved it on the fucking field. And that's
So-
exactly what you should do.
Yep.
A question I do have in this situation: what fixes that process? You say get rid of the white hairs. Do we go to a ex-player voting committee? Do we go to a younger generation of writers voting? Do we go players voting? Do we go? What do we do?
I think
How do we fix this?
I think the first step, there needs to be some clear criteria. Like there's no clear criteria. It's just certain guys get in, and it's you. Even when you look at their numbers and the years they played, Terrell Davis. I love Terrell Davis.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think he deserved Hall of Fame.
No, not at all. Yeah, he's got 2 rings and he put up a 2,000-yard season. Great.
I was going to say,
when
you
it came
take those
down to-
last 2 years of his career out of play, he's not a Hall of Famer.
No.
He had 2 fantastic years
Yeah. Right.
when they won championships.
He had a
but-
very short career when it came down to it. And listen, if Terrell Davis would have played more years, could he have been a Hall of Famer as far as like those stats? Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a huge fan of Terrell Davis.
But here, this is the funny
he-
thing that you
but
say
he
that, though.
didn't.
But this is the funny thing that you say that. You look at a guy like Frank Gore, who's played 15, 16 years, whatever it is, and people are still questioning if he's a Hall of Famer.
No, he's one. Listen,
But people question if he's a Hall of Famer.
I know, and
he's
in my
almost
opinion,
top
you're-
3 on every single
It's like,
fucking
dude, because he's
category for
because
running
he's
back.
played for 15, 16 years. Honestly, that should be fucking rewarded.
Yeah.
yes,
Especially-
absolutely.
Especially a dude with the knees he has, which are basically bionic by now. But to
They
play,
were, I think they were bionic when he entered the league.
Yeah, right, 100%. Because he blew one out
On
at
top
Miami.
of
I
the
know
fact
that.
that he's the size of a fucking tight end.
Right.
Like
But-
that one to me, anybody who says Frank Gore should not be in the Hall of Fame needs to just stop watching football.
Yeah.
Like just give it up, because at this point you don't get it. You've been watching long enough and you just don't understand it. Go watch underwater basket weaving or whatever you want to watch, because you don't understand football.
I
The
would
guy
like
is
to watch
clearly a
that
Hall of
one
Fame.
day.
It would be something.
Underwater basket weaving?
Yeah.
It's not as exciting as it sounds.
No?
I don't think it'd be exciting, but how it's done, like I'd be very interested to see that.
It would be pretty fascinating. I can't disagree with Frank on this one. I might watch it for like a minute and be like, okay, I'm good. I just want to see how it's done.
If it was done as an event, it would be like NASCAR is with me. Like I would watch it probably once a year.
I'm not going to lie. So talking about NASCAR, we talked about this before the show a little bit, and talking about sports that are off the wall that you don't really watch a lot of. You know how I feel about NASCAR. I'm not a NASCAR guy.
I used to like
You used to
NASCAR.
love it,
I
actually.
fucking can't stand it now. I hate it with a passion.
I was a huge fan as a kid, but I was an Earnhardt fan.
Yeah, so was I.
So as soon as he got into the crash,
Yeah.
like that came to a
Well,
crushing end of my NASCAR fan.
Mine continued like once Junior started getting good, because I was a fan of Junior as well.
Wait, Junior got good?
Yeah, he's won multiple Daytonas. He's going to be a Hall of Famer.
He won multiple Daytoners.
I'm sorry, Junior, and I love Junior. I loved watching him.
Is he one of the all-time greats? No, I don't think he is.
His 400 win, the Tropicana 400, right after his dad had passed.
That's awesome.
That is hands down one of my favorite sports moments of all time.
That was cool.
Junior is just one of those guys that I look at who was supposed to be one of the greats.
Yeah.
And just never
because he
achieved what he could.
No, because he didn't have the mentality of his dad.
Yeah.
He didn't do he didn't do whatever it took to win.
He didn't have that killer
He
instinct.
didn't. Not at all. It's his own admission. He'll say that.
Oh, yeah.
He goes, I just didn't
he's
have
been
that in
straight
me.
up about it.
He's like, I didn't have that in me. All right, fair enough.
Well, and I as a kid, you were a fan. I was never really a fan as a kid. It was always the outlier sport for me. So I always I liked going to like stock car races when I went down to Indiana with my family, and we went to like see the little buggy dirt races.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was kind of fun, and I watched NASCAR here and there. You know, it was a thing that I saw every once in a while. But growing up, as I got older, it just didn't interest me.
No, same here.
at all for some reason.
Like later on in life, I was just kind of like, this is stupid.
Well, and I'm not a car guy either, so I think maybe you have to be a car guy to be into that. I'm
4
not.
hours of left-hand turns.
Yeah, they're making a left-hand turn.
I mean, yeah, when they had it on tracks like Talladega or something like that, like the restrictor plate track,
Yeah.
those are fun. Those are fun to watch, or like Bristol or whatever. Those are fun to watch.
Well, because you got pileups every time you fucking turn
it's
around.
not only that,
too.
but those tracks to me took skill to actually drive.
Definitely.
You know, but you see tracks like Michigan, and I've been to 2 Michigan races, and my God, are they the most boring thing ever? Because the dude who's winning is like 15 seconds out in front of the second place car. It's incredibly boring.
It's the entire time.
Right. And not to mention, once they got into the whole corporate bullshit of NASCAR, it's just like, all right, I'm done. Like, I'm out.
Well, I finally watched a race the other night.
Yeah, you watched
Daytona. For the first time in a long time, I watched and it's probably because it was rain delayed.
Oh yeah,
that was
which pushed it back in the evening. Which there was not much else on. Let's be honest. And it was on, and I had placed a couple wagers on it, Frank, as I think you did too.
Yep. I took Keselowski to finish top 3.
Yeah, and on that last and so we talked about this. I had Pagano to win the race. Actually,
Logano.
I had
Logano.
Yeah, Logano. Yeah, was it Joey Logano? See, I don't even know. I don't really know the guys.
I don't even know who I bet on. I just fucking put my.
No, I did.
You took the race car driver, not the football coach.
Yes, but not Pagano.
Chuck Pagano is a football coach.
You're like the person who bets
Logano.
You're like the person who bets on the NCAA tournament just based on the team name or school mascot.
No, see, now this I didn't. I actually, again, it's like handicapping horses, right? I did research. I mean, I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name, but I did research as to who does well on certain races, and I looked into it. So he was one of those guys regarded as could have a chance to win it.
It's simple. That NASCAR is simple. If you're one of the top teams like Ganassi or Hendrick or whatever, you're going to do well.
Yeah,
simple as that. Your engines are just better.
But now you have all these newer teams that are showing up. You have Michael Jordan's team.
Means nothing.
It doesn't mean anything. But at the same time, you look at the way that Bubba Wallace raced.
Yeah.
He didn't race bad.
No, he didn't.
Well, and there was a rookie that was in the top 10 for the first 2 legs of that. Dillon,
Austin Dillon.
Yeah,
he's not a rookie.
No,
I thought he was
been around for a minute.
Has he?
Yeah.
Somebody.
You talking about the one who's driving Senior's old car?
No.
Okay, that's Dillon.
Okay. There was somebody else we were talking about. Either he was a rookie last year or he's a rookie this year. But anyway, there was a guy that was up there. Okay. And again, it just goes to show I don't really know much about NASCAR, but I actually watched the race because it was pushed back and it actually kept my interest. I'm not gonna lie. I was, for the first time in my life, I was not sitting there dozing off to a NASCAR race. I was interested. It helps that I had a few bucks put on.
Of course, it's like fantasy football.
Yes,
it's literally what it is.
It helped that I had a few dollars put on it.
Right.
But it was interesting to me at that point. It's the first time that I've ever been interested in NASCAR, I think, in my life.
Nice.
Like, truly interested.
Nice.
And I think it did them well that it was rain delayed.
Yeah.
Because I think they probably had more viewers.
I frankly think they should.
Watch
If you're going to do Daytona, they should do it in primetime on Sunday night. They should.
I agree.
I agree with you because I watched
They
it.
do the 400 at Daytona at night.
I don't know why they don't do like the 500 at night. It would make more sense because there's nothing. That's literally the weekend after the Super Bowl. Why wouldn't you do that? That's your quote unquote Super Bowl of NASCAR. Do it in primetime. But I don't know. What do I know?
They should have. I agree.
Anyways,
they did it on accident, and I enjoyed it. So
I'm glad you brought up the betting aspect of this. You want to hit the picks?
Yes.
All right.
If you've had plumbing problems, you're definitely not alone. The next time you have an issue, there's only one place to call. Go to Pro Plumbing. They're a local family-owned company with 15 years of experience. Based in Centerline, they serve the Metro Detroit area, keeping your pipes clean and flowing with fair prices and happy customers. They're open 7 days a week for all your plumbing needs. The knowledgeable and experienced staff will keep you informed of their progress every step of the way to make your experience as smooth as possible. Call Go To Pro Plumbing today at 586-250-2881. That's 586-250-2881. Go To Pro Plumbing. When your pipes won't flow, call the pro.
It's time!
Yeah, time for the picks. I don't even know what I did last week. I think I did all right. Actually, I know I didn't. I took Barcelona, and they got fucking housed today. So.
We should probably keep track of
We
this.
should probably keep track of that.
That's, the fact that we don't is really weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, we probably should.
We probably should keep track of that. So we'll start doing that this week.
Yeah. Well, let's do that.
I just know I saw that before the show. I was just kind of looking up some stuff, and I saw that Barcelona got a house like 4-1 today. I'm just like, oh, that really didn't work out for me. But
oops.
Yeah, big oops there. So hopefully we're starting out on a better slate this week. I'm going to take my first pick. I'm doing Xavier versus St. John's. St. John's is laying 2.5. Give me the Johnnies.
Nice. I like it. Frankie.
To be honest with you, I haven't looked at a lot of this stuff. We were discussing the NASCAR race. Like I said, I had taken Brad Keselowski, and then that turn 3 happened where his car blew up, and not going to lie, I kind of got discouraged on a lot of these votes. But one thing that I have dealt with quite a bit this past week, being at work, is a lot of people asking me about over-unders when it comes to hockey. If you look at the standard line, for the most part, you got
like
5.5, 5.5,
6.
6.5. Yeah. What you really got to do when it comes to these games, I mean, you got Washington, Pittsburgh right now. They're at 4.5. You got to look at the goaltending. Goaltending tells you everything when it comes to the over-under in hockey.
Mm-hmm.
So games going on right now, obviously not worth picking. We're going to go later on. I know Joe's going to give you something with the Vegas and Colorado game, so I'm going to take the Minnesota and LA game. This is not a battle of goaltending there. It is entirely possible that goes over the 5.5 goals. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say it's a lock, but you're pretty safe if you're going to take a goaltending matchup of really third-tier type goalies as an over on a 5.5 spread. So I'm going to go Minnesota, LA. I'm going to take the over at 5.5.
Nice. I dig it.
I'm actually going to go into the NBA here for a second, and I'm going to give you 2 picks. The first one is going to be the Suns. Now, I love this bet at -2.5.
Talk about a team that fucked up in the draft.
Yeah, the Suns giving up 2.5 tonight to the Nets is perfect in my book, and I got in at that. The only problem right now is you're not going to get in at that. It's at -7.5 now.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So that in itself tells me that the money right now is on my side because they're trying to get people to bet on the Nets. They're missing Durant, and that team is just not set up to compete with the Suns on a night like tonight. I think the Suns are good enough with Durant missing, Harden and Kyrie are great players. But when it comes down to it, I love the Suns tonight, giving up 2.5. You're not going to get in at that right now, unfortunately, because it's up to 7.5. I would still do something with the money line, even though you're not going to win a ton of money off of it. If you put something on the money line, the Suns, I'm telling you right now, they're going to win this game. In my opinion, that's a great bet. And we're going to go back to the NBA, and I'm going to take the Wolves tonight. The Timberwolves are getting 6.5 at home. They're playing against the Lakers. And without Anthony Davis, the Lakers do not look very good. They've had a lot of games come down to the wire. They haven't covered the spread, and I think against the spread in like the last 8 games, they're like 7-1, I believe. I'd have to look those numbers up again. I was looking them up earlier. I really love the Timberwolves in this game tonight, getting 6.5 at home.
Nice. I'm gonna go to the English Premier League Saturday. We got the Merseyside derby, which is Everton versus Liverpool. Which is cool because their stadiums are literally like a mile away from each other. If they do like an overhead view of it, it's obviously a big rivalry game. But lately I've seen Liverpool, even though Liverpool won today in the Champions League, and that's great. Just their Premier League form lately has been less than adequate. So I'm going to continue that trend, and I'm going to take Everton plus the 550.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it.
Excellent.
Okay. I'm going to do something a little different than picking straight up games.
Mhm.
For those of you that use the FanDuel app, they have an area called Boosts.
Yep.
Which
I use it quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's honestly, a lot of these boosted bets are worth taking the gamble on just because of the things that the way they've boosted the odds for you and the things that they're saying should happen in those cases.
Well, not to interrupt you, just a lot of the other betting apps do have boosts.
Yeah,
too.
they
So
do.
DraftKings
Yeah,
has them. PointsBet has them. So just whatever app you use, check out the boosts that they have. They are worthwhile every once in a while, for sure.
So the one that I'm going to look at right now is Harden to record a triple-double, Chris Paul to record a double-double. Can Harden get a triple-double? I think you're looking at a situation that is more likely with KD out. Can Chris Paul? Chris Paul is all that damn team's got right now.
Is Devin Booker's there? Isn't that playing?
He's not playing well. Like, Chris Paul is legit all that they've had.
Right.
You're plus 900 right now for that to happen. It's entirely worth throwing a couple of bucks on that to happen. The payout is, I'm not going to say it's can't miss, but the payout is way too great for you to really look at that as a huge gamble.
For Chris Paul hitting a triple-double?
Double-double.
Double-double, okay.
You got Harden with the triple-double, Paul with the double-double.
I agree with you that it's worth a shot because Chris Paul can easily get a double-double.
Yeah.
And with Durant being out of the game,
Harden's going to have to put up a triple-double for them to stay in it.
He's going to have to pick up some slack there. I would agree with that. Listen, parlays and things like that are long shots. That's why it's the casinos and whatever they're the books. They love when you do parlays because they don't pan out most of the time.
No.
But when it comes down to it, if you lay a couple bucks on it, it's worth your while because you have a chance to win such a high amount.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do love that, Frank. I'm going to go to the hardwood of college now from the NBA. I'm going to take Loyola Marymount -3. I just like them in this game. They're not at home, but I just think they're the better team coming into this matchup. I think that -3 points is a little skewed. I don't understand why it's that low. Maybe I'm wrong, but I like them away giving up 3 points. I also really love Illinois tonight. The line now is down to giving up 13 points. So if you get on it now, you're better than when I got in on it. I got in it giving up 14 points. I still like that spread. I would still take them. Even if it was 15 or 16, I think I would still take them to win that game tonight.
I'm going to stay in the Premier League. Another game on Sunday. It's a London derby between West Ham United and myself, being an Arsenal fan, who I refer to this team lovingly as shit, Tottenham Hotspur. I'm gonna take the plus 235, and I think it ends in a draw. I'm leaving it at that. I think it ends in a draw.
Now, what game was that again?
West Ham United and Tottenham.
Okay.
Give me the draw on that.
Nice. I saw somebody else recommend a draw on a different game.
Yep.
Too, and I was surprised at that. But and it happens more than you think.
I will never, ever, ever pick Tottenham to win. Ever. That's how much I despise that fucking team.
Keep that in mind, folks. Keep that in mind.
For my last one, I'm going to go back on the ice and focus on a game for tomorrow. Again, I'm going over/under on this. Line is 6.5 for the Ottawa-Toronto game.
After last night's fucking debacle. Good
After
Lord.
last night's debacle.
I wanted to throw my remote control through the television
I
screen
have
last night.
no doubt about that.
I was so angry last night too, bro.
When Ottawa was able to come back in that game, I think this is going to be a statement game for the Maple Leafs.
It better be.
This very likely could be a 7-0 victory
It
tomorrow.
fucking better be. That
for
shit
Toronto.
That shit just last night is so fucking unacceptable. And watching it, I'm like, this is why you guys don't win anything. is because you don't have that killer mentality. You take a team like Boston or like a team like Pittsburgh, they got a team down 5-1. They're probably going to win the game 7-8-1. They're going to step on your throat. But this team, and then Austin Matthews, fucking asshole. Oh, we got a little lackadaisical. Fuck you, man. You're an alternate captain of this fucking team. You can't let that shit happen. You can't. If you want to be considered an elite team, you can't let that shit happen. That's my rant on that.
Can we cut that and put it in one of our intros or something?
Absolutely. We're at the 1 hour, 21 minute mark.
Okay, so to finish up that bet, I don't care if you're taking the spread, if you're taking the money line, or if you're taking the over-under. Hammer the Leafs on this one.
Nice. Nice. Sorry. I'm
else, Chris?
I'm just marking down the 1 hour 21 minute mark so we can make sure we go through and
I was entirely waiting for him to start going. They were who we thought they were,
and we let them off the hook.
That was coming next until I decided just to okay. I think I've had my say on that one.
Oh man. So
everything you did say though, 100% factual.
Yeah. I don't think either one of us disagree with you. It was just kind of funny there for a little bit. You turned pretty red. I'm not gonna lie.
Pissed.
Your face was the color of your jersey right now.
Like after watching the game last night, Vancouver was playing at 10. It's like, all right. And then after the game, I was like, you know what? I didn't even want to watch hockey at that point. I was that mad. And it's just a regular season game, but it's the way that this shit happens all the time with this fucking.
It's the way Toronto is,
and it's just like enough, man.
I will tell you though, I do love the trade they made.
Oh, for Galchenyuk?
Yeah, Galchenyuk. I think that is another piece.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
I read that name and I literally for like 5 minutes straight I was going, Galchenyuk?
And you want to know the funny thing about that?
What?
You want to know the funny thing about that?
Gallicanokis?
If you saw, he's an American.
Really?
Yes.
that name is difficult.
Yeah.
That name is difficult.
Joe avoided bringing that trade up just because he didn't want to pronounce the name.
Who?
I can't. Gallicanokis.
Gallicanokis. That's right.
Yeah, I did want to throw that in there. That was a great move.
I think it's a good depth move. Like I don't hate it.
It's scoring that could be added to your second or your third line.
If he can skate, yeah. That's his issue. He can't skate.
Now you sound like fans at hockey games. Skate!
Yeah. Or shoot. There's a guy standing right in front of him.
Right. Shoot. Yeah, right into his ankles?
Right.
Cool.
Yeah. The only team that's acceptable with is the Red Wings right now. Because I genuinely do not know if they know when to shoot the puck or
not. So for my last one, I'm going to give you two hockey ones. Before I get into that, I just saw a score that bothers me because if we were on earlier, I would have suggested this game. I would have suggested taking the Boston Celtics, giving up 2.5. They're up 59-54 right now. It's only halftime. The game's not over with, but I do still love them to win this game by 2.5, coming back and bouncing back for a team that's been struggling lately. I wish we'd have come on, or I wish could have given that to you, and if we don't come on earlier, but I mean, that would have been nice. Anyway, stumbling over my words here. I can't.
Seems to be a thing all three of us are doing.
English, motherfucker. Yeah, right.
So for the two hockey picks I'm going to give you straight up. I'm just going to go Avs and the Kings money line. I like both those teams to win tonight. Looking at the matchups, looking at the goaltending matchups, Minnesota's going to have their second or third string goalie in there. Cam Talbot's still out with COVID right now. So you're looking at the Kings going against a second or third string goalie. You're also looking at them having Quick in net, who is playing pretty well right now. I believe he's had a shutout and 2 1-goal games in his last 3. So I would take the Kings in that game money line and take the Avs tonight. I just have a feeling about them. And again, I'm going to tell you, every one of these I've put at least $1 on. So I'm putting my money where my mouth is on my picks. With that being said, those are the picks, and this is all for entertainment purposes only. Please do not rush out and put your mortgage on any of our bets. Thank you.
No, that'd be pretty stupid.
Especially when Joe tells you to take the Avalanche against the Knights.
Listen, the Knights have let me down several times. I'm just saying. But I like them tonight. I'm just saying. I like the Avs.
Okay.
I know. You're wearing a Knights shirt. I know.
Should I do this now?
I mean, you can choose to do it if you want to. Should we segue into it?
This is the segue into it. You're supposed to go, yeah, and then I'm supposed to start
Oh.
going, are you tired of going from dealership to dealership? That's how it works. So let's try this again. Should I go into it?
You should have just kept going.
Yeah.
Are you tired of going from dealership to dealership looking for an automobile or boat? Then get in touch with Land & Sea Motorsports. They specialize in finding you the car, truck, or boat that you're in the market for. At Land & Sea Motorsports, tell them the type of vehicle and the features you want, and that will fit your budget. They also offer shrink wrapping and winterization for all boats and jet skis. If your boat or vehicle need any repairs or cleaning, they offer a full detail division as well. So give them a call at 586-484-9798 or visit their website at landandseamotorsports.com. That's landandseamotorsports.com.
Nailed it.
Nicely done, sir.
Got all the numbers.
I got all the numbers for that phone number.
I was reading the numbers and I hear Joe go.
Well, sorry. Sometimes I can't help it. It's me. So one thing I want to talk to you guys about just before we get out of here, and we'll have a chance for you guys want to say anything else, but I think I'm going to come up with a game as the producer here. I'm going to come up with a game that we're going to play because we're talking about we're going to get into some other different stuff down the road here.
Okay.
And I like this certain game I'm going to come up with. It's going to be sports movie quotes.
Yeah.
And can you peg the movie? And they're not going to be obvious quotes. I'm not going to just come up with obvious quotes that you would know. Because I know sports movies we've all seen over and over and over again, right? But when it comes to movies in general, like you're not necessarily a movie guy.
No.
Frank, you are more than Chris. But
I am a movie guy when it comes to movies you've probably never seen or heard of.
Right. And it's movies in your wheelhouse. There's
Yeah.
plenty of movies that I've seen that I try to get you to see, like Die Hard, Goodfellas, that you refuse to see for like years and years and years and years. So I'm also going to throw some regular movie quotes in there of movies that I feel most people should have seen.
Okay.
And I'm just going to see if you guys can peg those. But it's going to be like 75% sports movie quotes and 25% regular movie quotes that I think
So
are
this is
movies.
going to become a segment that is basically what movies has Frank not seen that he should have seen.
Oh, believe me, I think there's gonna be.
I think that's kind of where this is trending.
I
for
think
sure.
there's gonna be a lot that Chris hasn't seen either, though.
Probably.
So because again, you admit you're not necessarily a movie guy.
I'm not
so
a big movie guy, no.
Yeah, but the first time Caddyshack comes up, and I'm like, oh shit, I've never seen that.
I actually watched that yesterday. It was on.
Yes, I agree.
This is exactly what's going to happen.
Yep, it was on, and I did watch it too. So I just think that's going to be a fun. It's not necessarily going to be an every week segment, but it's something I want to introduce, and it'll be a fun time for us.
Sounds like a hoot.
I think we'll have a good time, and I think the people listening will have some fun. So
Absolutely.
Anything before we get out of here, boys?
No, just a thank you, and we appreciate everybody who listens and shares our stuff and all that stuff. We appreciate
As always. Nope.
All right. So we do have some new writers coming on. We have a couple that are going to be writing some blogs here pretty soon. And look forward to some new stuff coming out. We are looking into doing some merchandise as well. So
we got some things in the works.
Yeah, keep a lookout for those. That's going to do it for tonight's show. Give us a like, a share, and a follow on our social media like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. You can find all of our podcasts on your favorite podcast provider. As always, check out our website, sotdet.com. While you're there, take a look at our show pics and the blogs. Again, that's sotdet.com. I want to thank everybody for listening and or watching. On behalf of Chris and Frank, I'm Joe. We are Sports on Tap Detroit. See you next Tuesday.
And that is it for us today.
No! God, please, no!
Bye, have a great time.
No! God!
Bye, guys.
No. Bye, buddy. No!
Goodbye.
No! Goodbye! No!
It's never goodbye.
Hey. You know, we've been through our ups and been through our downs.
And you were meant to be here tonight.
You guys will always be in my heart.
Great moments are born from great opportunity.
I think the most important part is that we all stay together throughout.
Don't give up. Don't ever give up.
Live. Fight like hell. The best thing I have ever done, the best thing I will ever do, is be a dad.
God, I love you guys. Mamba out.